Hello again, Tony here, back on my channel once more, this time with a deck profile of something a little more topical. As you know, last week, inzektors and photons have been duking it out to see which archetype would see new support in the Create a Card challenge. And after a long week of what can be considered a grueling and probably pretty toxic battle, inzektors end up topping out photons for the win. And while I would love to create a deck profile for inzektors that fits the modern era, one of the things I realized as I was trying to do that is that all the inzektor cards are pretty horribly outdated, with no new real support having come out in the last 5 years to offset their pretty lackluster effects by today's standard. And as such, the new Create a Card challenge actually serves to create a very interesting case study of what new support can do, and that's something I want to make a video on for later. But for the sake of today's deck profile, what I will be showcasing is the Photon deck, which has seen consistent meta updates in the last 2 years, seeing support in Legendary Duelists as well as a core set. As such, this deck is easily able to put up some pretty nasty disruption boards using 2 to 3 card combos, and that's something I want to showcase in today's deck profile. Anyway, I've droned on enough. Without a further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Starting off our deck profile, we have 3 Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. Coming out in Photon Shockwave, Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon is pretty outdated for the modern times. With a special summon effect that's way too hard to achieve and a battle effect that's way too hard to resolve, Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon sees play in this deck at 3 purely because the rest of the cards in this deck revolve around this monster. In fact, most of the support cards coming up will either find a way to specifically special summon Galaxy-Eyes or search it out. And as such, you want to play the 3 because it's pretty common for you to burn out all 3 copies in your maximum combo in your first 2 turns. One such card that specifically supports your Galaxy-Eyes is your 2 Galaxy Knight. Galaxy Knight can be normal summoned without tribute if you control another Photon or Galaxy monster, and when you do normal summon him, he can special summon back 1 Galaxy-Eyes from your graveyard in defense position. And given that most Photon or Galaxy monsters in your deck are special summon monsters, it's pretty easy for your Galaxy Knight to be your only normal summon in most of your starting combos. And since he's a level 8 that summons out your level 8 Galaxy-Eyes, he essentially amounts to a free rank 8 for your end combos. Another such card that supports specifically Galaxy-Eyes is your 3 Photon Vanisher. Vanisher can special summon itself from the hand while you control another Photon or Galaxy monster, and when you do so, you can search for 1 Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck to the hand. He also has a nifty effect where if you Xyz with him, he gives the Xyz monster a battle banish effect, but the primary point of this card is to search into your Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon for special summon later. Furthermore, it being a special summon level 4 warrior monster means that he's a pretty good level, rank, and type for a lot of cool plays into either I sold or rank 4 plays. Moving on from those cards, we have a consistency card in the form of 3 Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier can special summon itself from the hand by discarding 1 light, and when you do special summon him, you can search for 1 Galaxy monster from your deck to the hand. You may have probably seen this card in a lot of Cyber Dragon decks as a way to summon out 2 Galaxy Soldier to make an a Cyber Dragon Infinity. And while you can do that in this deck, because you're playing actual Galaxy, you actually have real targets in this deck that allow you to do things other than Infinity to make some other cool boards. Moving forward from that, we have another consistency card in the form of 3 Photon Orbital. Orbital can equip itself to a Photon or Galaxy monster, providing that monster with an additional 500 attack and battle immunity. More importantly though, it can launch itself while equipped to a monster to search for 1 Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck to the hand. Not only is this card essentially a Rhoda with extra benefits, there's actually a lot of ways to cheat this card out from the deck without even requiring a Photon or Galaxy monster, and as such, you definitely want to see this card if you want to make some of your bigger boards. Up next from that, we have our Photon Special Summon package. We're playing the 2 Galaxy Brave and the 3 Photon Thrasher. Galaxy Brave can special summon itself from the hand by revealing 1 Photon monster, in which case it copies the level of the Photon monster reveal when it hits the field. Furthermore, when it hits the field, it can target a Galaxy monster in your graveyard and copy its attack. Thrasher can just special summon itself if you control no monsters. See, Brave is actually really useful because it's essentially a rank 4 or a rank 8 depending on what Photon you reveal, and the copy attack effect can be really useful late game when it copies a 4k Xyz monster attack to become a beater itself. Thrasher being a 2100 monster is also useful as an aggression beater, but the most important point is that both of these monsters are warriors. The reason those cards being warrior is so important is because we're playing a mini I sold engine in this deck. On top of those 5 monsters being special summonable warriors, we're also playing the 3 Neospace Connector, the 1 Aqua Dolphin, and the 1 Infernoble Knight Renaud. Opening Eyes Sold in any of your combos essentially amounts to a Galaxy or Photon monster of your choice and 1 Premature Burial-esque card. And as such, playing these cards is just another way to get into that Eyes Sold while still being able to work through hand traps. So it's around this point where I want to explain some of my choices for the ratios of the cards in the deck, because that's one thing that I think varies per deck list. See, one of those things that I have to recognize when playing a level 8 deck is that there is a brick factor with those level 8s. For example, I may not be able to special summon Brave if I don't open a Photon monster, something that's pretty plausible. Likewise, I may not be able to normal summon Knight if I don't open a way to special summon another Galaxy monster. As such, I limited these cards down to 2 for the safety of not bricking for them. Thrasher is another one where I could brick in the situation of opening multiple Thrasher or a way to not summon a monster through the Thrasher. However, I maximized the Thrasher at 3 because I also wanted to maximize my chances of getting into Eyes Sold with another Warrior normal summon. The last monsters we play in the deck is 3 Valor as our hand trap and the 1 Destruction Buster Sword. And if this card tells you anything, it tells you that we're playing Union Carrier in the deck as well. And Union Carrier is actually pretty useful in this deck, not only because it lets you equip Dragon Buster Sword to one of your dragons, it also, at being a light machine, can directly equip Photon Orbital to it without any other monster. In fact, there's actually a lot of ways to cheat your way into a Union Carrier to get into the Orbital to start one of your bigger bards. Moving on to the spells, we're playing 3 Photon Sanctuary. Photon Sanctuary is by far your strongest spell in the deck. When you activate it, you summon 2 level 4 light tokens with 2000 attack, but you cannot summon anything but lights for the turn you activate this card. The fact that it summons 2 tokens of the same level, type, and attack means that you have a lot of options for what you can do with those tokens. You can obviously summon Galaxy-Eyes with those tokens, but you could also link them away to either make something like Union Carrier, or Bujinki's, or even something like your own Galaxy-Eyes Link monster to do some pretty crazy plays. And the fact that this card is not once per turn means that seeing 2 of these or 3 of these in your opening hand is just more links to go into. The next spell we play in the deck is 3 Galaxy Expedition. While you control a level 5 or higher Galaxy or Photon monster, this card allows you to summon a second level 5 or higher Galaxy or Photon monster from the deck, but you can't enter the battle phase when you activate this card. See, the battle phase lockout isn't really a big deal, especially if you're going first, but the fact that it summons any level 5 or higher Galaxy or Photon monster from the deck with its effects not negated is extremely useful. In a lot of situations, you can activate this card to get the other level 8 to make your rank 8, but it also allows you to go into your Galaxy Soldier to search into any other Galaxy card to continue your plays as well. Moving on from there, we're playing 1 Galaxy Zero. Galaxy Zero is essentially the Premature Burial for your deck. When you activate it, you can target 1 Galaxy or Photon monster in your graveyard and special summon it, equipping this card to it. While equipped, that monster you summon cannot activate its effects, but should it be destroyed by battle, you can launch the Zero instead. See, there's actually a lot of cool things you could do with this. First off, you can summon something like a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon in defense, and when that Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon is destroyed by battle, you can launch the Zero, and that will turn on your Photon Dragon's effects live. Furthermore, you can also summon something back like an Xyz monster to make more Xyz plays and to rank up into things, but one of the more important things is that this card is an equipped spell, meaning that this works with your Eyes Sold combo to build into some boards. The last spells we play in the deck is 3 Trade-In and 1 Rhoda. I'm pretty sure I don't have to explain much about what they do. You play the Trade-In because you're playing level 8s, and you're playing the Rhoda because you're playing Warriors. Simple as that. Moving on to the traps, and the only 3 remaining cards in our deck, we have our 3 Imperm. Now, for some of you, you're probably wondering why aren't I playing something like the 2 Tachyon Transmigration. And that's because Tachyon Transmigration isn't searchable, and it not being searchable can lead to a lot of bricky situations. I could see this card but not have a Galaxy-Eyes monster and it would be dead. I can also potentially draw into this card while not having a Galaxy monster and that can also be dead. Or I can open with this card but not have a way to put up a decent Galaxy-Eyes monster, in which case it would also be dead. At that point, it's just easier to run the Imperm that's usable at all times for more versatility. Going off into the extra decks, starting with the links, we're obviously playing the Eyes Sold and Union Carrier that I was talking about earlier, but we're also playing 2 Galaxy-Eyes Soulflare Dragon. Galaxy-Eyes Soulflare Dragon can be summoned by any 2 light monsters, with one of them having at least 2000 attack or more, but when it's summoned, it lets you add 1 Galaxy-Eyes or Photon monster from your graveyard to your hand. And it also has a nifty effect where on your opponent's turn you can discard a Galaxy and Photon card or one Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon to destroy one special summon monster your opponent controls, essentially being recursion and disruption in one. And the fact that this card can be easily summoned using your Photon Sanctuary is extra cool as well. Another card that you can summon off of Sanctuary would be your Bujinki Asahima, a card that you probably don't see in a lot of decks. This card requires 2 monsters of the same level, i.e. your 2 level 4 Photon Sanctuary tokens or any Xyz play, and when it's summoned, you can special summon 1 monster from your graveyard and 1 monster from your hand with the same level, and then immediately perform an Xyz summon. This is another cool way to unbrick a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon in hand to make a cool rank 8, but it also has a nifty effect where if you activate an Xyz monster effect by detaching, while in the zone that it points to, you pop a spell for that extra utility. Moving on to the Xyz, we start off with our Starleech Photon Blast Dragon. Photon Blast Dragon can be made with any 2 level 4s, and when it's summoned, you can special summon 1 Photon monster from your hand. More importantly though, while it's on the field, any monster with 2000 or more attack cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And while Starleech here is not over 2000 attack, being only 18, there's a lot of ways to pump him up to over 2k to provide blanket immunity for your entire field. It also has a pretty nifty effect where on your opponent's turn you can detach a material to summon out a Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, but that's just extra. From there, we also have our Infinity package because we're playing the Galaxy Soldier. We have the Rank Up package in our Cypher Blade and Full Armor for our Galaxy-Eyes. We have the 107 for the Battle Phase negation of everything. We have the Cypher Blade Dragon to take your opponent's monster to go into link plays. We have the Harbinger for our Spell Negate. And we have, most importantly, our 2 Galaxy-Eyes Photon Lord. Photon Lord can be made with any 2 level 8s, and while it has a Photon monster under it, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. More importantly though, during your opponent's turn, you can add 1 Photon or Galaxy card from the deck to the hand, or attach it to a material, essentially being either consistency or just more material negation. And the other effect is you can detach a material from this card while your opponent activates a monster effect to negate the activation of that monster effect, but if you detach a Galaxy monster, you can destroy that card as well, essentially being a strike on legs that's also a searcher, doing it all. It's at this point that we reach the combo proponent of our deck profile, and to make up for the fact that last week I ended up giving you 1 less combo due to the Archfiend Air snafu, I have 4 different 2-card combos that I can show you right now that all end up at least with a Photon Lord. And in Galaxy, that's what you at least want in your end board, because Photon Lord having the effect to search as well as do disruption is a great way to anchor your turn 1 at minimum. Starting off, our first 2-card combo requires us to either open Thrasher or Brave and a Photon Vanisher. So let's say in this case I open a Thrasher and a Photon Vanisher. I'm going to special summon the Thrasher since I control no monsters, and then special summon the Vanisher since I control a Photon monster. Vanisher is going to grab me my Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. I'm then going to link away the Vanisher and the Thrasher away to summon out my Isolde of the Noble Knights. Isolde will now search me out a Photon Vanisher for later. Then, I'm going to activate Isolde's effect, sending the Galaxy Zero to my graveyard to special summon out my Renault to the field. Renault will then trigger, grabbing me back the Galaxy Zero. From there, I'm going to link away the Renault and the Isolde both as warriors to summon out my Union Carrier. Union Carrier, being a light machine, will then let me equip my Photon Orbital from my deck. I'm going to activate Photon Orbital's effect, sending it to the graveyard, now to search for my Galaxy Soldier to my hand. Then, I'm going to activate Galaxy Soldier's effect, sending the Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon in my hand to the graveyard to special summon him, and then use his special summon effect to search for my Galaxy Knight. I'm going to normal summon the Galaxy Knight and use his effect now to special summon out my Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. From there, I'm going to overlay the 2 monsters to then summon out my Galaxy Lord. Then, I'll activate the Galaxy Zero to summon out my Photon Orbital back from the graveyard and link those 2 monsters away to then summon out my Soul Flare Dragon. Soul Flare Dragon will then trigger and grab me back my Photon Orbital. And this is what I end with all going into my opponent's turn. And I have a lot of options here depending on what I want to search with my Lord on my opponent's turn. I can, in some situations, just search out another Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon to use as a disruption for my Soul Flare. Or, should I feel like I can just anchor with this, I can instead grab a Photon Sanctuary so that I have 3 cards to build an entirely new combo with on my next turn. Now this next combo will require that I open 1 Neospace Connector and any level 8 monster. In this case, let's say I open just the Galaxy Knight. What's going to happen here is I'm going to normal summon the Neospace connector and use its effect to summon out my Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. I'm going to activate Aqua Dolphin's effect, pitching the level 8 I had to then look at my opponent's hand and potentially discard a hand trap. From there, I'm going to link these two monsters away to summon out my Isolde. I'm going to activate Isolde's search effect to add the other level 8 that I didn't open with. From there, I'm going to activate Isolde's effect, sending the Galaxy-Zero to my graveyard to once again summon out my Renaud. Renaud will then proceed to grab me back my Galaxy-Zero. From there, I'm going to link these two monsters once more, being both warriors, into my Union Carrier and activate Union Carrier's effect to equip to itself my Photon Orbital. I'm then going to activate my Photon Orbital, sending it to the graveyard, this time to add my Photon Vanisher. I'm going to then activate Galaxy-Zero, summoning back the Photon Orbital, and now that I control a Photon monster, I can special summon my Photon Vanisher. Vanisher will then grab me my Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. From there, I'm going to link these two monsters away as the same level monsters to summon out my Bujinki Asahima. Asahima will then trigger, summoning out my Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon from my hand, as well as the level 8 in my graveyard, and then allowing me to overlay those two to make my Galaxy-Eyes Photon Lord. And this is what I end with going into my opponent's turn, which is, it's not as good as the first combo, but what it does do is it lets me look at my opponent's hand and effectively know and plan accordingly. I now know what I want to negate specifically, and I also know what I want to search with him so that I can plan better for my following turn. Now, this third combo will be a combination of the first and second combos, where I open a Neospace connector and one Photon Vanisher. In this case, like before, I'm going to normal summon the Neospace connector and summon out my Aqua Dolphin. If I have another card in hand, I could discard it to take out a hand trap. Regardless, I'm going to link these two monsters away to once again summon out my Isolde. My Isolde will then this time search me my Galaxy Knight. From there, I'm going to activate Isolde's effects, sending the Galaxy-Zero from my deck to the graveyard to once again summon out my Renaud, once again grabbing me back the Zero. Then, I'm once again going to link these two monsters away to summon out my Union Carrier and use Union Carrier's effect to equip the Photon Orbital. I'm then going to send Orbital, this time searching for a Galaxy Brave instead. From there, I'm going to activate the Galaxy-Zero to once again summon back the Orbital, and then, since I control a Photon monster, special summon out the Photon Vanisher, Vanisher grabbing me my Photon Dragon. Then, I'm going to reveal my Photon Dragon as part of the effect for Brave to special summon Brave to the field as a level 8 monster. Then, I'm going to overlay the Photon Vanisher and the Orbital now to summon out my Photon Blast Dragon. And when Photon Blast Dragon is summoned, it allows me to special summon out my Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon to the field, to which I can then overlay those two to end up on my Lord. And this is my end board going into my opponent's turn. And this board is a little better than the last two boards because now my Photon Lord is protected from being destroyed by card effects and targeted by card effects. And that leads to a lot of interesting options. First off, since my Lord can't be targeted by card effects, I don't lose to something like an Imperm or a Chalice on it. More importantly though, it means that I can detach the Photon Dragon from its material as part of its negation, and it would still retain the card effect protection. And because of that, should I do that, I can then detach a material from my blast on my opponent's turn to summon back that Photon Dragon, which also receives the protection from my Blast Dragon. Finally, since the card I searched in this case was a Galaxy Knight, should my opponent break this board, if I have something that I could search off of my Lord that would lead me to have another Photon card in hand, I can then simply normal summon the Knight on my following turn and summon back the Galaxy-Eyes to then make another rank A play from there. Now this final combo will require that I open one Photon Vanisher and one Photon Sanctuary. And since we're playing Photon Sanctuary, you know that this combo won't involve Isolde. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to activate the Photon Sanctuary to summon out 2 Photon tokens to my field. And since these are Photon monsters, I can special summon out the Photon Vanisher now to grab me my Photon Dragon. From there, I'm going to link these 2 Photon tokens as the same attribute light monsters to summon out my Union Carrier, using Union Carrier's effect to equip a Photon Orbital to my Vanisher. I'm going to launch the Orbital to now search out my Galaxy Soldier. From there, I'm going to activate Galaxy Soldier's effects, sending the Dragon to my graveyard to special summon out my Soldier to grab me my Knight. Now, I'm going to normal summon the Knight to now summon back the Dragon, overlaying the Dragon and the Knight to summon out my Photon Lord. Lastly, I'm going to then link away these 2 monsters to once again summon out my Soul Flare Dragon, grabbing me back the Orbital and ending my turn, effectively ending on the same board as my first combo. Now, it's important to note that these end boards that I create with these 2 card combos are the minimum of what I can do. Depending on what I open in the other 3 cards on my hand, I can do some other crazy things as well. For example, suppose I had opened a Galaxy Expedition on top of that 2-card combo. I can activate the Expedition since I still have the Soldier to summon out another Soldier, overlaying these 2 soldiers to summon out my Cyber Dragon Infinity. Or suppose I had opened either a Thrasher, a Zero, or a Brave, I can end up with an additional level 4 on the field to overlay with my Vanisher to end up on my Photon Blast Dragon. Or suppose I had opened a Photon Sanctuary on top of the first one, I can summon out 2 more additional tokens and link those 2 away to summon out my Soulflare Dragon while still keeping those 2 additional monsters and getting back my Orbital. Regardless, the point is, the sky's the limit depending on what you open, but at least with those 2-card combos you end up with, at minimum, the Lord. And that's going to wrap it up for our Galaxy Photon Deck profile. If I can be perfectly honest, I wish this deck had won the Create a Card Challenge instead of inzektors, because with its ability to put up multiple negates as well as protection, I feel like this deck is on the precipice of being high level meta playable. Unlike inzektors here, which right now are so outdated, I feel like even the 1 support card won't change how meta they are, and I'll go into that discussion when I get to it. Regardless though, my name is Tony Yang, this has been a Photon Galaxy deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.